Good afternoon. Today I'll be conducting my video over the strengths and weaknesses of my strategy during the merchandising manager of the Beverly Frills appliance stores, and my role was buyer. To start out, as my first strength, I would like to say that my first strength was having the distributive strategy, having everything outlined before we started the case. There was no further agreements or attributes that could have been added to the case. Everything was set in stone with the amounts and the costs. So the only three things that would be addressed during the strategy was delivery times, product variations, and payment terms, of which delivery time was of the most essence. No new deals were made during this because the distributive strategy was used, and this gave limited options for both the buyer and the seller, which I used to my advantage. The second strength that I would like to talk about is sticking to my target point. By sticking to my target point, I stayed within the ZOPA, or the Zone of Potential Agreement, and was willing to walk away if needs were not met. Using this, I used my target point to my advantage and pushed them to their resistance point, knowing that there was a specific zone for both of us to reach, and there's only 3 topics for us to negotiate. The first weakness I would like to express is how I exposed my BATNA. I made the mistake of exposing my BATNA in the beginning way too early than what I should have, and this made it more difficult to get ahead because the competitor or the seller knew exactly what the next best offer was on the table, and they used that to their advantage. They used it against me to push my resistance point, which pushed me below the target point that I wanted to get within the case. My second weakness is I conceded too early. My pattern of concession was too narrow. I didn't make my second and third offers big enough to make it obvious that my target point was larger than what it was. So they knew exactly after my second and third offer what my target point was and what my resistance point was, and they used that against me. After the seller knew about my narrow concession, they were committed to their ways, and it made it very difficult to talk them out of it otherwise. That being said, those are my 2 strengths and my 2 weaknesses from the merchandising management case concerning refrigerators and the buyer and seller, which I was the buyer. Thank you.